Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today's conversation is going to be a little bit interesting, something I don't think I've touched on in my channel before, and that is the topic of sign language and sign language as a first language and sign language as an only language. Now, I've kind of been avoiding this topic for a long time because I feel like it's not my business to speak on it, especially since sign language was not my first language and I don't really know it that well. Like, yes, I know the basics. I took a couple of college level classes. I even took one like for my grade in college, and my mom used to play sign language videos for me when I was a child because she thought it would be good for me to learn sign language, but I always felt like it's not my thing to speak on, and I know that a lot of people with hearing loss feel really passionate one way or the other whether or not people with hearing loss and really bad hearing loss and deaf people should even try to speak spoken language instead of sign language. But every single time I have a conversation with someone, not even if they're deaf, but just like random people, even today at my work, I had this conversation when they find out that I wear hearing aids and I have a hearing loss. Everybody is just like, do you know sign language? Can you speak sign language? And I think that it's really interesting that a lot of people's minds go there because that's not my natural question when I hear that somebody has hearing loss, but it is really interesting that a lot of people jump to conclusions that just because you have a hearing loss, you must speak sign language. And so I'm just going to speak a little bit about my experience and my opinion. I know that this is a very sensitive topic to a lot of people, so I just want to say that I am not judging you based on your choices. This is just where I am coming from. I grew up speaking a spoken language. I went to school with a bunch of people that didn't have hearing loss, so that was the culture that I was in growing up, and I don't think that there was any other choice, especially since I was the only person in my family with a hearing loss. As I've grown up and as I've experienced things, I have been around a lot of different people where maybe that was not the case, and so I just want to talk about it. I know the deaf culture is a huge thing, and when I was in my sign language class in college, I really got to sit down and learn about it and give presentations about deaf culture and people who grow up in a completely deaf family, or maybe not, but their only language is American Sign Language. And also I did attend a camp I've attended many different camps for people with hearing loss, and I found Gallaudet through it when I was in high school, and there was a brief moment where I was thinking, oh, what if I went to a school where I was surrounded with people that were exactly like me and all I had to do was learn sign language. And I don't know if you know, but at Gallaudet the language is American Sign Language, and if you don't know sign language you have to attend, I think, 6 weeks early and learn sign language, and that's like the only language that you can speak. And a lot of deaf people feel really passionate that that is what needs to happen and that deaf people should only speak sign language. And I'm not completely educated on this subject and I don't claim to know everything, but that is what I've been hearing from specific people that I've talked to out in the world who believe this. Now, would I ever choose to go down that route? I have to say absolutely not, and the reason why is because this world is hard and is super competitive, and I think that if I was raised in a way where I was only speaking sign language and not a spoken language, I wouldn't have had half of the opportunity that I've had. I wouldn't be the person that I am today. I wouldn't have gotten to go to the colleges, have done the programs that I did even in high school, and I probably definitely wouldn't have a job that is anything close to what I majored in, what I'm passionate about, and what I'm doing now. My whole major and my whole focus was journalism. It was going on air and communicating and speaking to a camera, and that would just be impossible if my language was sign language. But also, I do believe that people who only speak sign language and who choose not to have devices that will help them hear and they just want to speak sign language, I do believe that it is possible for them to have happy and healthy lives, and there are jobs out there for all of them, and everybody that chooses to do that I think is completely fine. But I do think that life can be a lot harder, and the whole message of it is that there's nothing wrong with people who are completely deaf and speak sign language. It's just like a way of life, and I completely agree with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with deaf people or people with hearing loss. Obviously I have severe hearing loss. Like, there are things that I don't hear on a daily basis in conversations, and I do believe that we're completely normal people. We're just living with a little bit of a setback in life. So if I ever had kids, I would consider teaching them sign language, because I think it is a cool language and it is really cool to be able to communicate. Like, the few times that I've had conversations with people who only speak sign language, it had mostly been through an interpreter. And yes, it would be so cool to be able to speak sign language, so I want to learn more sign language. I would consider teaching my child sign language, but I would never make it the only thing, just because the reality of the world, everything, it's just so competitive, and you need to be able to communicate to a mass amount of people. So that is my take on it. But I always think it's really interesting, because I've had conversations where people would basically like accuse me of like turning my back on people that had hearing loss because I wasn't speaking sign language 100% of the time. And it was really an interesting perspective and an interesting thing to be accused of, because I love finding other people that have hearing loss and who have more hearing loss than me. I think it's so great to be able to communicate and to share our hardships with each other. So for a bunch of people to come at me and accuse me of like these horrible things because I don't speak sign language 100% of the time is absolutely ridiculous. And yeah, I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. I hope that this video didn't come across bad in any way. I would love to have a conversation about it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.